Welcome. What you're going to see and hear on this webinar is an incredible story. It's one of the biggest scientific breakthroughs of our lifetime. Univera is a very, very unique company. The beginning of it was basically not for profit. It was for one man's dream to bring the best of nature to humankind. This truly is life-changing for people, not only for themselves, but for anyone they care about. And, all I can say is that the ability now that science and nature have finally come together to do something for the human body is absolutely incredible. I'm going to go through the story, I'm going to go through the science, and then the products that have been able to put all this together. Basically, the story begins with this gentleman here on the far left, the bronze bust. That's Johan Lee. He was a very successful industrialist in South Korea. And what happened to him was back in the mid-'80s, he got very ill, and someone introduced him to the aloe vera plant. He got better, and he was so touched by that and moved by it that he decided that if that one plant had changed his life the way it did, that there had to be other medicinal plants all over the world, and he set out his fortune and his life basically to bring them to humankind. What happened was he eventually passed away, and his son that you see here in the center, Bill Lee, who's an incredible human being in his own right, took over his father's legacy and mission in life, and now it's become his. They set up a culture of service here that you see, and what they set up was a foundation where they were able to help kids all over the globe as far as nutritional needs, and they've helped over 3 million kids already to date. And they help more every time someone else gets involved in this opportunity with the product, so that, every time someone does purchase product, that they help about 4 additional kids for a full year. So that is unique in itself. Everything, like I said, is at pharmaceutical science applied to natural plants. Efficacy means that there's enough of every ingredient and every product that's already been proven to do what it says it's supposed to do. And, that doesn't necessarily happen with other products out there. Potency means that it has to be, when you're at a pharmaceutical grade, which this is, it has to be plus or minus 2%. That means there has to be 98 to 100% active ingredient in the product. A typical vitamin company, what they can put on the label is totally different. If they want to put an ingredient on a label, let's say fish oil, it only has to have 20% fish oil in it to be put on the label. So the standard for pharmaceutical grade is much, much greater. The resources that are available today are basically it's vertically integrated. The Lees did not want anyone to be able to tell them what to do, where to do it, or how to do it. So everything is vertical here. So the pharmaceutical company behind this is Unigen. And it goes back to the mapping of the human genome back in the mid-'90s. Now, they were able to break down the gene code. That is what makes this one of the biggest scientific breakthroughs of our lifetime. If that had not happened, then this would not have been possible to apply the same science to medicinal plants all over the world. So now that they know exactly what's going on in the body, they're able to do things, to help it. A story I like to use is a good friend of mine, both parents passed away from cancer. And they went down, he had 4 sisters himself. They went down to the University of Pennsylvania and had their genes tested. And they found out that 3 of the sisters had the gene for cancer. He and another sister did not. And 2 of those sisters have already contracted cancer. So they know what's going on today because of that scientific breakthrough. And like I said, that's what makes this possible. Right now there's over 50 full-time scientists and 30-plus PhDs that basically work round the clock here, to bring the best of nature to humankind. There's 2 fully staffed DNA labs. There's one in South Korea, one in the United States, and they're passing information back and forth all the time. All the products are engineered to work at the cellular DNA level. That typically does not happen anywhere. The next thing they went ahead and did after the science is they went ahead and took care of all the farming. So they set up AlloCorp. AlloCorp produces 40% of the world's aloe vera already. I just ask you to Google aloe vera benefits. Most people think aloe is something just for a topical on the skin for a rash or burn. But what aloe actually does is, inside the body, it does 1,000 times more. It affects almost everything in the body. Right now, they organically farm over 10,000 acres, and they have farms in the United States, in Mexico, in South Korea, in China. They even have a 100,000-acre botanical reserve in Russia that they don't even touch. And the reason they did that was it's in 7 different time zones, just in case anything goes on globally, that they'll always have what they need, product-wise. The next step was to set up the actual manufacturing. That's where NatureTech was started. And NatureTech is a 250,000 square foot plus state-of-the-art manufacturing facility. It's not only GMP approved, which is the best you can have as far as manufacturing, it's FDA and internationally certified, so it just doesn't get any better. Then they went ahead and they had to figure out how they were going to bring it to market. So what they decided to do was they realized it could not go on a shelf somewhere. This could not possibly jump off a shelf and tell everybody how incredible it is, the science behind it in the background. So they set up Univera to do all the business development. And so that's exactly what Univera is doing now. They actually brought the product to market, and they did it through basically just word of mouth, relationship marketing. People introducing this to other people because they get such fantastic benefit from it. And everything's done on a webinar, so everybody's getting all the right information and facts, to make a decision for their, the health of their life and someone they care about. But Unigen's leading edge in science. They own the world's largest medicinal plant library in the world. No other company has it. There's over 17,000 medicinal plants that have already been collected globally. Medicinal plants that have helped societies for hundreds of generations. And, the people took them because they got benefit from them. It may have been a fruit or a berry or whatever. When Univera got a hold of it and sent it through the labs, what they did was they took the entire plant and broke it down to the DNA level. And in doing that, they not only got the fruit or the berry, they got the leaf, they got the stem, they got the root. And when they did that, they found 300,000 additional fractions. Now, fractions are just other natural compounds that are in the plants that no one ever really, discovered before. And they were able to break those down and also be able to help the human body with them. So they're constantly gathering new plants all the time and running them through that same process. As I mentioned before, they have 2 fully staffed DNA labs, one in South Korea, one in the United States. They already have over 177 plus patents. So a typical vitamin company or nutritional, company or whatever, they may have a couple patents or they may have no patents. Here there's over 177 already down to the cellular DNA level. So that doesn't get any better. They've also put over $100 million in straight R&D, and they're putting millions more in all the time. Now, what makes it totally unique is that they took the same pharmaceutical science and they put it to all these natural plants. So they did all the double-blind, placebo-controlled human clinical trials to prove it. And that is done nowhere. That's what makes this so unique and so incredible for us to take advantage of. But Univera, they're into preventative care. They want to try and help people before things start happening. Typical pharmaceutical company, they treat symptoms. And, we've all heard those stories. I mean, you see a commercial on TV, something as simple as, acne or something. And, if you take the product, you could have several kinds of cancer. You could have a heart attack. You could have, all kind of things going on. And, because the body's not made to assimilate pharmaceuticals. So preventative care is the best way to go as far as taking care of your health now and in the future. So let me just show you this here. Stephen Chernevsky is the Chief Science Officer. And the story behind that is the fact that Bill Lee had read the 3 books you see here at the bottom. And he went to Stephen and said, Stephen, how would you like to prove all your theories? And Stephen said, I'd love to do that, but it would be too expensive. And, so Bill Lee said, how much would it be? He said, at least $5 million to get started. Bill Lee wrote him a check immediately for $5 million. He became the Chief Science Officer. He's world-renowned biochemist, especially human metabolism, anti-aging. He lectures, advises all over the world, including the Olympic team. But I was so incredibly impressed with what I had seen before I got involved that I went out and took a tour out at Univera. I met with Stephen. I met with some of the other people involved. And, he was frank with me. He just sat down and said, and taught me some things. But he told me about DHEA. DHEA is the most prevalent hormone in the human body. It affects everything. The thing is, an average 18-year-old, produces about 50 milligrams a day. Now, what happens is, usually around age 25 to 30, you start to lose it. By age 40, we've lost 50% of it. By age 70, you're down to 10 or 15%. Now, Univera has one product. It's called Prime. It has 7 milligrams in it. And the only reason they have 7 milligrams plus additional compounds is that an average 30, 35-year-old doesn't need, more than that. So what he said to me at my age, he said, rather than you taking like 5 pills, spending more money than you need to because all the additional compounds I don't need to pay for, he said, take 1 Prime a day, Frank, and he said, then go out and supplement with a 25 milligram DHEA, 7 keto it's called. It's the best you can get. He told me the companies they had already checked out and done the research on. You get like 120 capsules, 25 milligram for like $40 a month, $40. I mean, it's incredible, what you can do and put back in your body. Now, the reason that that's important is, along with the metabolic makeover that we're going to be talking about, is the fact that he said a human being, like every other species on this planet, we're made to be born, reproduce, and die. Now, that last part is something I want to be able to, have some say in. And so that's why it's critical to realize that with the metabolic makeover, we're going to be able to reset our metabolism back 10, 15, 20 years ago to all of a sudden your body starts saying, wait a minute, they're not ready to die yet. They still need energy, and they start burning fat instead of storing it. And he goes through in his book. I'm going to highly recommend everyone get this book. Order it from Amazon, called The Metabolic Makeover. It's incredible. It goes through the whole history of our food supply, why we are where we are today, what's happening today, why the medical issues are, more prevalent than they ever have been in history. When we were created, there was 100 and some varieties of fruits and plants and vegetables and things that people could eat. And today it's down to 11. And a lot of those are being genetically modified. In fact, you'll see today a big thing in advertising is, we have non-GMO products. And but what's in the products that are not GMO, is hardly anything today. And that's really what's happened to society. The food supply, people just aren't getting the nutrition they need to make the body function properly. There was an Earth Summit back in 1992. It was in Brazil. It was on soil depletion. The United States was the worst developed country in the world at that point. It was already 85% depleted. That's what's happening. The body just can't, get the nutrition that it needs to do what it's supposed to do to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Stephen said the human body is made to live to be 120 years old. The United States, we're talking about a lifespan of, somewhere between, 76.7 and, less than 80 years. It doesn't have to be that way. So, it's critical to know what you can do to help change that. We have something called a health span. A health span is different than a lifespan. A health span is how many years you can go without getting serious or degenerative diseases. That was something I wanted to know about. I did not want to be in a nursing home. I did not want to be pushed up against a wall someday or in hospice or something if there was something I could do to avoid it. You know, at the turn of the century, 1 person in 20 had cancer. Today, 1 in 3 will get cancer in their lifetime. You know, the serious health problems that are growing in the U.S. are crazy. Children are being tested at earlier and earlier ages. You have 11-year-olds being tested for high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, heart disease. I just saw something on TV here a little while back. It was a commercial for autism. They said it was up 1,000% in just the last few years. I mean, how is that even possible? There has to be something going on. And what's going on is people are not getting the nutrition they need to make the body function properly. Now, you throw on top of it, you know, what they're not getting nutritionally, you put on top of it air pollution, water pollution. The human body needs help. I mean, that's the bottom line. And that's what Univera is all about, and that's what the science and products are all about. Stephen said the problem is aging. The problem is not high cholesterol or high blood pressure and things like that. It's the actual aging process. Our DNA is already programmed to start doing what it's doing, which is start to lose things that we need, and the body is basically dying. You know, the incredible thing about a human body, is it'll regenerate itself. It has an incredible, you know, power to do that, to slow down and reverse the aging process as long as you give it what it needs. Also in Stephen's book, he said the main thing you need if you want at least a healthy lifespan is you need muscle mass. Muscle mass is you need to be able to hold your joints together, your organs together, your body together. The reason that my mother-in-law, you know, eventually passed away was the fact that, you know, she had degeneration for 20 years in her case, but at the end she had no muscle mass whatsoever. And when she went into a nursing home, they moved her, a bone broke, she had a blood clot, and that was her demise. He says you have to have muscle mass if you want to have a healthy lifespan or a health span. And, you know, you have to be able to hold the body together. He said the problem is people hate to exercise. And, you know, I can agree with that. But he looked at me and he said, Frank, if you could only exercise just 4 minutes every day and you will get the best cardio and muscle mass that you can have, would you do that? And I said, absolutely, sign me up for that deal. In the back of his book, he talks about something called high-intensity interval training. It's HIIT. What happened was an individual named Tabata back in the 90s for the Japanese Olympic team found out if you work out a certain way that you can have more cardio and more muscle mass than in 4 minutes than if you were running on a treadmill for an hour, running 10 miles. And you can look it up today. It doesn't matter what your health condition is. It doesn't matter if you're sedentary. It doesn't matter if you have physical disabilities. It doesn't matter age. Nothing matters. There's hundreds and hundreds of programs today that people can get started on. And you can use equipment. You can use no equipment. It really doesn't matter. Just pick 4 things. You do them for 20 seconds at a high intensity. You rest for 10. You go 20-10, 20-10, 20-10. You repeat it twice. That's a total of 4 minutes. That's all you have to do to maintain muscle mass and cardio. So it doesn't get any easier. So if you want to have a healthy lifespan or health span, you know, all you have to do really is go through the metabolic makeover, which I'm going to cover here now. You go through eating properly. You know, in his book, he'll tell you, you know, people have certain ailments, what to eat, what not to eat, watch out, you know, what to watch out for. And you're willing to do a little bit of exercise. It's the best you can do for your health situation today. Okay? So what we're going to do now is, this is how that is possible. The body regenerates every single day, 300 billion to a trillion new cells every day. What happens is, they're programmed to either get weaker and weaker every day, or they're going to get stronger every day. The only way they're going to get stronger is if you do what we just covered about metabolic makeover, about, you know, working out, doing a little exercise, and watching what you eat. but you can reverse that to where the body is actually repairing and rebuilding itself rather than breaking it down and damage. Now, most people think your DNA is something, comes from your parents, grandparents, it's genetic. That's the big deal. Well, it's a big deal, but it's not the biggest deal. I'm also going to show you here how that 35% we can affect, but the other 65% is entirely up to us. What do we want to do about it? All I knew is I wanted to be as healthy as possible for as long as possible. And, that's why this makes sense to me. But, it's entirely up to an individual. These 300 billion to a trillion cells every day are going to either get weaker if you do nothing about it, or you're going to be able to do something about it. And it's entirely up. It's a choice for everyone to make. One of the products, this is an incredible product. It's part of the metabolic makeover. It's called Extra. You see here there's a 32-ounce concentrate. They also have the little mini bottles. And, these are the same size bottles that you would get, in a convenience store today where people are, spending a lot of money for these supposed energy drinks that are no good for them. They have caffeine, they have sugar, they have other things in them that should not be in the body. And yet they could be, replacing it with something like this product. Extra has already been proven to reduce the rate of DNA damage in as little as 14 days. Already proven. The ORAC score, or ORAC units, is how many antioxidants are in a product. You need antioxidants to fight off the free radical damage that we've already talked about. The lack of nutrients in the food, the water, the air, and everything else that's going on today. The average American diet only has between 12 and 1,500 ORACs in it. You need a minimum of 4,000 just to break even from free radical damage. 1 ounce of Extra is also equal to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables. So my wife and I take 3 ounces of this a day. We'll take 2 of the concentrate in the morning, and we'll drink 1 of these minis during the day. So we're getting 3 times the DNA repair. We're getting almost 14,000 ORACs, and we're getting 30 servings of fruits and vegetables. Just understand how that can affect, your energy, your vitality, how your mental clarity and focus can be improved. Stress is a major killer today. And, it's very damaging to the human body. And it also promotes, joint comfort and flexibility, but many, many other things just in this one product that's in the metabolic makeover. Here is just to show you a little chart on, what ORAC, units are available in different products. Orange juice has 223. Noni and acai, these are, touted to be very healthy juices today, have between 400 and 500. The average American diet between 12 and 1,500. Just 1 ounce of Extra, 4,500 ORACs. I mean, the antioxidant protection is incredible just in that one product. Here is the 5 products that they came up with. They all work synergistically with each other. Each one affects the other. They found out through the 17,000 plus medicinal plants all over the world, broke them down an additional 300,000 fractions. This is what they came up with that can absolutely be life-changing. We've already covered, some of the things that Extra does. Another incredible product in that 5-product program is Aloe Select. Aloe, along with the other compounds that are in this product, work on your GI tract. Your GI tract, by the way, they've already found out that 70 to 90% of all disease starts in your GI tract. That's why it's incredibly important to rebuild and repair your GI tract. Aloe also does all the other things I asked you to look up before, all the additional benefits, but it also helps with absorption of food. The little bit that you are getting from the food, at least it can get into your body better, and that's the importance of Aloe Select. Regenifree is for inflammation. Inflammation is a major killer. Any ailment that's going on in the body has inflammation attached to it. So it's important to keep that inflammation down. So it's not only important, for your joints and things like that. It's important for anything in the body that has inflammation attached to it. Rhythmatic is for heart health. You need proper blood circulation. So it not only does that, it also helps to heal, rebuild, and repair your veins and vessels. So anything dealing with the heart, Rhythmatic is there to help out with. Level G is to maintain healthy blood sugar levels. That one product took 5 years, $5 million, 5 double-blind studies, and 6 patents just on that one product to put it in so that it would help balance the human body. So this is the metabolic makeover. And, you take the metabolic makeover, you do a little exercise, watch the food, you can do incredible things, for your own health span. What they said was, don't even believe us, okay? Univera also has about 30-some other products. They have some skin products. They have some weight loss programs and other things where you can target specific issues. But everything they have has a 90-day, 100% money-back guarantee. So you have no risk whatsoever. You can take as much product as you want for 90 days. If you say, hey, I don't think I felt anything, I don't think it's doing anything, you're going to get all your money back. So there's basically 2 things going on here. One is at the end of 90 days, you're going to get all your money back. The other thing is at the end of 90 days, you're going to get your life back. So, there's nothing to lose. I highly recommend you get to the person who invited you to the webinar and just realize that there's something out there today. Science has finally gotten together, with nature. They're able to help the human body, but the choice is up to yours. And, so get to the person, get on the metabolic makeover, take it for 90 days, prove it to yourself what can happen, and, let it be life-changing for not only you, but for anybody else you care about. So get back to that person and get started and basically, let this whole thing change your life as well as someone you care about.